Hi, everybody. I'm Kevin,
And I'm Heather.
and we're Goin Batty. And believe it or not, while most people are kind of hanging out and enjoying their summer, us homeschool folks are beginning to plan for school next year. And so, if you're watching us live or if you're watching us on the rewind, we're going to give you a small window into what we do. I just realized the words are backwards because the camera's
It's
backwards, which
backwards,
is
yeah.
hilarious. So we're going to flip the camera in just a second so you can see it turn the right way
Yes.
and give you a little bit of an idea of what we do to plan our scope and sequence. This is just an example. It's not the only way to do it. There's probably way simpler ways to do it, but we have to get our head around this as a family, and so this is one of the ways that we do that.
Pray tell, Kevin, what is a scope and sequence? Because this has been the bane of my existence for the last, this is going on our third year of
yeah.
homeschooling, is trying to get a scope and sequence, which is the big picture
The big
of what
picture.
we're going to do and then the order that we're going to do it in. Is that right? Is that what scope and sequence is?
That is a good definition of scope and sequence, yes. And there's
Yay!
a lot of different there's a lot of different scopes and definitions of scope and sequence, which can make it very confusing.
Adeline.
The interesting thing is that we are not claiming to be educational professionals.
No.
We are a family muddling our way through trying to figure out what is the best way for us to teach our kids the subjects that they need to learn. And so we're using some of these strategies to help our kids and help us follow the big picture. It's the big plan. It's like looking at an atlas. When we have an atlas, you can see the states, you can see the cities, but you might not see all the details of like the different towns and the small roads. A scope and sequence gives you a big picture of what the overall roadmap is to what you're going to do with your students this year.
So I asked him to help me in this because he does in youth ministry scope and sequence all the time. And like I said, I have struggled for 2 years with this. And we had one when we first started and it was on Google Calendar. And it didn't work because I needed something printed for each kid.
It was
so
confusing.
it was hard. It was hard to navigate. So I need something printed on paper for each kid. So I have to have a scope and sequence for each subject that we're going through.
Each subject for all 4 kids.
All 4 kids.
And to add to the complication, we have one going into high school this year. And that's her right there. So it's not just keeping track of what the scope and sequence is, it's keeping track of her transcripts so that we can report those to colleges if she chooses to go, which we are not huge you have to go to college parents. We want you to thrive.
But we're going
that's a
to
big deal for us.
Educate like they're going to college. Right. So we are going to make sure they have all of their credits, that they have
calculus,
all of the stuff that they need in order, all of the classes
geometry,
that they need in order to go to college. But if they choose not
physics,
to and they decide to do like a trade school or something like that, then they're covered.
That's right.
So yay.
Yes, and so we have a ton of ways that we try to track this and a ton of different ways that we try to keep up with things, and we're going to share those with you tonight. And this is just an example of what we're going to do.
So, hi, Amy T.
Hi, Amy T. So we're going to, if I could ask my lovely bride, could you turn the camera around and be the camera person so that they can see this all printed out? We're gonna just mess with this a little bit real quick.
Okay. Sorry. Sorry, guys.
That's all right. You're gonna do.
All right.
This.
So,
nope.
Yeah, you gotta wait. What? What are we doing?
We're gonna do that.
Okay.
And that. So you should be able to see.
All right. Yeah.
Right. You can see me.
I can see your fingers. Okay.
All right.
So, I might need to get a little closer.
Yeah. Go ahead and zoom in where you need to zoom in.
Okay. Well, can I zoom in?
So we're gonna start over here and work our way that way. Okay. We're gonna start here and work our way this way. Some of this you have to ignore the detail in it because it's specific to one of our kids' math classes. And so what I want to impress on everybody is the stuff that I've written on the wall, which I thought my wife was going to jump out of her skin when she saw it, but
Yeah,
this
here,
is,
hold on, let me show you. He
what's
wrote with
written on
dry
the wall.
erase marker on my wall. So
And you did
let
more-
me zoom in so you guys can see what it actually says, because it's kind of small here.
So
But,
when we turn stuff in, we have to turn it in from the beginning, the middle, and the end.
So
And the beginning for us is the fall, which is August to
hey, thinking
November.
of others.
Hang on, let me
Sorry,
have
yeah.
a minute here. The beginning for our year is the fall, and that's August to November. The fall season is August to November. The middle is winter, December through February, and the end is spring, March to May. And the reason that we're doing that is we're splitting it into 3 sections so that it's easier for the kids and for Heather to find the information that they need, and for us to split out the teachings into seasons as well.
Yeah.
So we're actually dealing with 4 seasons, but you only have 3 represented up here. If you added a 4th, you would add summer. So if you're going to teach in seasons, if you're going to lead your kids through their homeschooling season, you would do August to November as fall, December, February is winter, March to May is spring, and then summer would be June and July and the beginning of part of August. So it's real important that you as a family decide how is it that you want to homeschool your kids, and what is your school year going to look like? Because the curriculums, well, they'll take you on a wild goose chase.
Well, and the curriculum is whatever you make it to be. So if I wanted to go year round, which we kind of are this year, but we're kind of not because we started later.
Yeah.
And then we're going to be starting back. If you see here, let me zoom in here. We're going to be
August 13th,
starting
so-
August 13th is going to be our start date.
And we're not going to do year-round model because
Yeah.
our kids do need a break.
Yeah, they do need a break. It's not going to be a huge break, but it is going to be
Enough to say, hey, I have
yeah.
summer.
So yeah.
Okay, so what we've done here is we've basically broken it down into weeks, and I'm going to run through that with you guys. But you again have to remember that the curriculum might do this for you. It may, good curriculums have a scope and sequence already done for you,
Yeah.
but you have to decide what your quarters are going to be, what your seasons are going to be. It gets very complicated, and I'll tell you what, Heather and I just had a 2-hour conversation about what our quarters are going to be like.
Okay, so we have a question. Amy T says, do you do 3 long terms instead of 4 short ones?
Well, we're going to explain that.
Yeah.
We're going to explain
And
that. So,
let's see, hold on. Hi, Marge. Marge came in, so I just wanted to say hi to her.
Amy T, let me address your question.
And hi,
while Heather's
Virginia.
looking at that,
Yeah.
okay? So we're not going to be able to say hi to everybody
Yeah.
when that can get done.
Hey, Krista. Sorry. Krista just showed up.
Okay, we
Hi,
gotta say hi to Krista. All right, here's the
We're
plan.
scoping sequencing for homeschool.
Scope and sequence. Beginning, middle, and end. And to answer Amy T's question, we're dealing with 3 different quarters, okay? The first quarter is the fall, which is August to November. The second quarter is winter, December to February, and the end is spring, which is March to May. We're dealing in 3 quarters because there are 3 distinct seasons, and there are 3 different ways to approach those seasons. Different rhythms happen in different seasons. What you're going to experience in the fall versus what you're going to experience in the winter is very different, because you're going to be cooped up in your house with your kids during the winter, where the fall you're going to want to get out and enjoy some of these fall festivals. So don't, in my mind, don't box yourself into having to be inside during the fall months, because you're going to want to go and have fun. You're going to want to go out and do some learning with your kids. And in the spring, you're going to want to get out of the house.
I think that the confusion is you're using the word quarters, which makes people think 4. We're talking terms. That's what Amy was saying.
Terms. Okay, so
like 3
the
terms
3
instead of 4 quarters.
Right. And
Yeah.
so what I would say is this, just to give my wife even more of a heart attack.
Oh, he's writing on my wall again.
Summer is going to be June and July. And that would be the fourth quarter. So first, second, third quarter. Okay? That way it's less confusing and everybody can see that I'm writing on my wall like a redneck. So
We're going to be painting over it, so.
yeah, we've got paint coming and it's dry erase marker, so it does come off.
So yeah.
So anyway, let's jump back into what this year looks like. This is Miles's his math for the 5th grade, and we're not going to get into the detail of what he's learning because it's math. Who cares? But what we are going to do is we're going to go through, hey, why did we do the way that we did it? And maybe this is something that you guys can use to apply in your families, maybe not. It's okay either way. So for us, we wanted to create a template that we could fit any subject into. We wanted to create a template that no matter what we do, and we took a picture of this, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we took a picture of this. It's on a dry erase board, so it's safe to erase now if we choose to. What we wanted to do is we wanted to take any of his subjects and be able to just superimpose them and put them into these spaces. So this time it says subject math, right here.
Let me zoom in a little bit.
Subject math. Then it's Miles's 5th grade, okay? But you could actually take this and turn it into
Language arts, science.
science and Kate.
But
See how that works?
But she's not 5th grade.
But you understand, you understand, and
Yeah.
well, hey, you can change the grade.
Yeah.
7th,
Ninth.
ninth.
Night.
I want my little
I
girl
wish
to
I
grow
was
up.
still in 7th grade.
So, this can turn into a template for all of your kids, but you just need to change a few things. So what we do, what our curriculum, the way it's organized is it does it by days. And so you're gonna have day 1 through 180, let's say. And so what we wanted to do is we wanted to grab a hold of that and break it down and say, okay, on what days are we doing what things? And what we ended up doing is something like this. We broke down first of all, we chose when do we want to start our school year. I talked to Heather and I said August 13th is when most of the schools are coming back. That's a good time to start so that we don't feel behind in the 8 ball when the end of the year comes and we have to continue into June because we're not done with all of our schooling. When June hits, when May and June hit, we want to be able to go to the Boonshoff Museum. We want to be able to go on some fun mission trips, some fun field trips that we weren't able to do this year because we did not have this beginning figured out. So you start early in the year so that at the end of the year, you can enjoy more outdoorsy kinds of field trips.
Well, and this is not the end of the year. We only did 4 months of our scope and
Right.
sequence. So we're going to do it in chunks.
But I'm just saying
Yeah.
the reason why we picked that
Yeah.
was so that we could have more room at the end of the year.
Yeah,
Does
we
that
want to
make
be
sense?
more flexible at the end of the year.
Right.
And if our kids, what we have them do is certain days that other kids get off, like President's Day and, whatever bank holiday, we don't take those days off. We just kind of work through them. And then that way, when we get towards the end of the year, we can have more freedom in the stuff that we do.
Right. Absolutely. And flexibility too.
Yeah.
So when Labor Day comes around and we don't want to take Monday off, maybe we take that Wednesday off and we go on a field trip. I don't know. And if we're going too fast, that's why we're doing it live, so you can go back and watch it on the rewind and get some of the idiosyncrasies that we might have breezed over.
And this will be a multi-part thing.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
I'll show
yeah.
you what the scope and sequence looks like once it's printed out.
Yeah.
What like the
Their
week,
portfolios.
their portfolios, the weekly planning, my new system for keeping everything
Yeah.
organized, which I totally stink at, but
Hey,
we're trying something new this year, which is
Alright.
good.
Check this out. So what we're doing is we're going August 13th through the 17th, and that's week 1. So this is the first week of our year right here. What we did is we broke it down by days. This is going to be day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. I think we're missing day 5 there. I'm glad I said that. because I combined these, I think. I think I combined those two.
Oh, yeah,
So
okay,
this is
yeah.
actually 2. Let me try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So those are broken down by days. And then same thing here. This is 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay? So what we're doing is we're taking it week by week by week in August. We're stopping in August and we're pausing and going, okay, did Miles do everything that he needed to do in his subject for math? In his subject for math, did he do everything that he needed to do? And then we're reviewing the portfolio at the end of the month. We're gonna pause. We're gonna stop on the 31st and we're gonna look and go, okay, if you don't know what Khan Academy is, I highly recommend you look into Khan Academy. It will track, the kids love it, first of all, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But it will track the progress of your kids' math. And it'll help you, sorry, they're flies. It'll help you track what they're accomplishing. So anyway, this is the first week, second week, third week, and we intentionally went through and said, okay, what are the days and what specifically are they going to learn? We want to, in this particular case, we want to micromanage what it is they're going to learn so that when Miles comes to Heather and says, I'm on day 7 and I did the why borrowing works, an alternative mental subtraction method, we go, well, did you finish exercise 6? And he goes, well, I didn't know I had exercise 6. We can go back and say, ha, you have more math to do, and torture him with a little bit extra math. But it helps us keep accountable to what the curriculum is trying to lead our kids through. It gives us a big picture view of the month of August. Then we split it out into September, which is week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, keeping in mind that Labor Day is in there, and we always kind of track the big rocks, the big events. So Miles's birthday is going to be in October, so we want to be sensitive to that. But
So is Max's.
But it's not going to change what he learns.
Yeah.
So anyway, we broken it down by 4 weeks. 4 weeks. So if you don't see it, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. At the end of September, we're going to pause. We're going to say, hold the phone. We're going to stop everything, and we're going to review the portfolio and say, do we have in their portfolio what they need to submit for the requirements of the state of Ohio? They're not hard. It's not complicated. It's just important that we do that. Because if we don't review their portfolios here, when we get into June, we're going to be scrambling like maniacs trying to get all of this completed. And that's not what we want to do. We
You're
want
welcome,
to have a
Vicky.
good, solid map of where we're going.
Yes.
And this is more detailed than even I wanted to do. I wanted to just put math across the thing instead of
No.
But
But it helps me when I'm looking at each kid's stuff going, okay, did you do this? Did you do that? And when we get to the end of each month, I can go, all right, we need to pull this worksheet, and this worksheet to put in your portfolio review. And this is where knowing the laws in your state is important, because what I have to do in the state of Ohio is different than what my cousin has to do in the state of Texas, which is different than what Krista has to do in the state of Wisconsin. So, yeah, I've said it before, if you're not part of the Homeschool Legal Defense Association, I would recommend that, because it has all in one place all of your state laws that you need to know in order to homeschool, because if it's not all in one place, you have to be searching all different places.
That's right.
And what will happen is your city school may tell you you need something different than what your state needs, which is not true.
Right.
So I will be having a video coming up on, you know, the stuff that like the intent to homeschool form and all that stuff that I got from the Homeschool Legal Defense Association to kind of show you guys what it all looks
you're
like.
turning in.
What I'm turning
You're
in.
turning this into the
Yeah,
state of Ohio.
I'm going to show them before I fill it out, because
Gotcha.
it'll have our kids' information on it. So
And so basically we split these out into 4-week sections and into months and listed out the detail of what they're learning on what day. You guys know all of that. If you look here, it says con. Those are little notes to Heather to remind her to check Khan Academy to make sure that they're doing what they said they were doing. So Miles goes on there, he takes a test or he plays a game. There's results that come from that he can take a screenshot of, and he can save that to Google Drive and turn that in.
And the one thing I will tell you with Khan Academy,
Do you want to come over here and talk?
no, they can hear me from behind here. Khan Academy is really great, even if you're not homeschooling, because if your kid is struggling with something, you know, say that they're struggling with partial quotients and division, you can type that in. It will show you a video. It will show you how to work it, and then it will give you problems to work. And in order to move on, you have to get 5 correct all at one time. And if you don't, it'll just keep going until you do get 5 correct. So it works very well for kids who are struggling with math. Even if you're a public school kid, a private school kid, I would really recommend Khan Academy.
I'm a visual guy, so doing things visually is real important for me to understand them, to contextualize them, to make sense of them. And so when we started this process, I said, let's get a whiteboard up and let's put this out so we can touch it, taste it, feel it. Now, keep in mind that Heather and I had to spend 2.5 hours discussing how it is we wanted to homeschool. Some of you are probably thinking, gosh, that's a really long time. Well, it's not. It's time really well spent so that you can be on the same wavelength as your partner and what you're doing and how you're leading and how you're teaching your family. And so take the time.
You need to speak up a little bit. They can hear me better than you.
I know, because the camera's turned
Yeah.
that way. I'll keep trying. It's just really hard. So anyway, basically the time that you spend talking about this with your partner is really important, because you guys are going to argue about what you didn't know you were going to argue about. Like Heather and I, we argued about why do we have the curriculum says at day 45 that's the end of your quarter. Well, that didn't make any sense to me, and it doesn't relate to our family. It fit well with our family, so we changed it. And the state of Ohio doesn't care, and the curriculum doesn't care. If you're going to teach your kids, let me share you my philosophy of homeschooling. If you're going to truly teach your kids, you've got to get outside of the box that you're trying to put the curriculum into. So if your curriculum doesn't match exactly what you want to do, change it. It's your curriculum, it's your family, it's how you teach. There's some times where Heather is like, no, I need the boundaries, I need the guardrails, I need the structure. That's great. This provides that. However, when the structure begins to fail and you begin to trip over the structure, you need to bail. You need to change it. You need to make it something that's worthwhile. Yes,
We actually quit a curriculum a third of the way into the school year last year because it just was not working for our family. It started out great, and then it became very slow and very cumbersome, and it was too low level for Katie, and it was
No, it was too high.
oh, it was some parts of it were too like the English and stuff was a little harder than what she was ready for. And so we actually ditched a complete curriculum because it didn't fit our family. And don't feel like that just because you've bought it that you need to stick with it, because it's going to be misery for you. I mean, you can find, like I said, the curriculum that we use, it's free and it's online, and we'll put a link to it below. It may not work for you, and I find that a lot of homeschool moms have to piece together their curriculums. They don't use all Abeka. They don't use all Alpha Omega. They piece it together bit by bit to find what fits their kids.
And I think that's more successful too. If you guys consider the amount of information and the amount of time that you're going to be spending with your kids, you really want to have every voice speaking into that, not just one boxed curriculum. You want aunts and uncles teaching them. You want friends of your family teaching them. You want, if we're going to talk about true homesteading, we want our kids to learn that. If we're going to talk about self-reliance, we want our kids to learn that. We don't want to just do what's on the list. We want to go and learn the stuff that's not on the list, Or Miles never learns how to do chickens. Katie never learns how to sew. Max will never learn how to work on a car. And Jack will never learn how to rule the world as evil overlord if we don't give them some sort of boundaries. I'm just kidding.
He's gonna work for Lego. That's what he told
That
me.
is what it is. I'm just joking.
He's gonna build
Jack
the
says
giant
that
Lego
sometimes.
buildings. That's what he wants to do.
But don't miss the point. The point is unbox this thing. Unbox your curriculum so it makes sense to your family. Don't try to fit your family into a box. It's ugly. And it hurts. And it makes you fight. And it makes you sad. And it makes people just want to cuss. Don't do that. So I want to show you something that's... All of this work we've just spent 2 hours doing, I'm going to erase.
No, what? What?
I'm going to erase. I'm going to erase this 2 hours of work. And there's a reason I'm going to show. We took a picture of it.
Okay.
We took a picture of it. But there's a reason I'm going to erase it. Are you ready? Watch. So, this is the format in which we're using to organize our scope and sequence. Look how easy it is for us to get ready for the next kid. All we got to do...
Or the next subject.
Or the next subject. Or the next subject and the next kid.
Yep.
All we're going to do is go through and erase the blue. Okay? And what that does is it gives us everything that we need. It still leaves us the structure, right?
Yep.
Get rid of the blue. It still leaves us the structure, and that's the key. The structure is what we want. Now, I don't know if you guys have any questions. I don't know if you guys have any... I know there's some professional educators right now like flipping out. Talk to us. Give us your opinion. Just because we have one opinion, you have another, doesn't mean that we're right and you're wrong.
Amy says, "No, Kevin, you're giving me anxiety."
About erasing the
Erasing it, yeah.
Who was
But
that?
Mary Cleveland said, "Homeschooling is trial and error until you find what works for you." And Amy T says, "Education is so cookie cutter and boring these days."
Well, you won't hear me argue
So,
about that.
yeah.
But if you guys will entertain me for just one more second, I want to show you just the concept here, okay? The concept is there's another philosophy behind this that we haven't really talked about, and I really want to touch on that philosophy, but I have to get rid of the blue first, so this will be just a second. Okay.
Vicky said, "Hi y'all, thank you for taking time and sharing this with us." Mindy Hoffman was here, but her phone was dying. She just wanted to say hi.
Okay.
So,
She'll watch it on the rewind.
yeah.
I saw some really fun
Krista
pictures.
said that she would be quiet. That was like way before when I was like, "Hi, Krista." You're like, "Ah," because I kept interrupting you.
Oh, yeah, okay. Kristen's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm just getting rid of the blue. That's
So
all
yeah,
I'm doing.
now we've got the template for the next
And
subject.
this is why I coded things at the beginning.
Yeah.
You're kind of looking at me like, why are you making? When we went to buy colors, it's important to me that we have a lot of variety of colors because I'm a visual learner. My boys are visual learners, and we have to have different colors so that we can do fun stuff like this. So the blue's gone, almost. Now, there's a philosophy that may not fit you. You're going to have to unpack this. Something for you to think about. There are, everybody listen, this is important, I don't want you to miss this. There are rhythms to our life. The fall feels different than the winter feels different than the spring, and the spring feels different than the summer. When we take these rhythms in our life and we apply them to a format of teaching like homeschooling our kids, it will revolutionize how your kids learn. It becomes tactile, it becomes interactive, it becomes all these different kinds of things. Mom needs your charger, she's trying to tell you.
Yeah.
It is an interactive, forgive me for saying this isn't necessarily what I mean. It is an evolution of learning that your kids and family go through when you unbox it and you give them and you acknowledge the rhythms of the year. Here's kind of an example. In the fall, we're going to go to hay rides. We're gonna go to pumpkin patches. We're gonna go to some of those fall festivals that only happen in there. There are things to learn there. In the wintertime, we're gonna celebrate Christmas and we're gonna be with family during Thanksgiving, and there are all kinds of lessons to learn there. And then we're gonna go into spring and we're gonna enjoy planting and cultivating and all of the things that come with spring. And then summer's gonna come and there's stuff to learn there too. If you don't acknowledge the rhythms of your family and the rhythms of your life, you are going to miss out on some of the incredible things that your family can learn as you homeschool. That's my soapbox, but I'm going to keep preaching it because it's important. All right, babe.
Okay.
What do we need to do now?
Well, I need to pull up their.
You need to pull up their stuff.
Yeah, I gotta.
The blue? Were you going back to the blue?
No. I was gonna go to. Are you wanting to do another subject?
No. I think this is just what I wanted to show everybody.
Okay.
Is this is how we mapped it out.
Yeah.
This is what it looks like without all the blue. These are the sections.
Here,
Now,
let
we're
me
gonna keep
hold on.
going.
Let me try to get a closer, so they can see.
We're going to keep going
Kinda.
into December, January, February, March with this structure.
Yeah.
And we'll finish out Miles's math. We'll start back over in, what, December.
Yeah,
And
but
we'll
we're
start
only
with
doing 4 months at a time,
Right. And
because I don't want to get so far ahead that if something happens, I have to redo everything.
well, and
you
it'll
know,
morph. Again, it'll
yeah.
change. And so this gives us plenty to do.
Yeah.
Plenty to work with. So there is, oh, there's still blue. Ew, get that math off there. But I just can't,
Can you move over
I can't articulate that
back a
enough.
little bit so they can
I'm
see
sorry.
that? Yeah.
I can't articulate that enough. This is the rhythm of our family. It's not necessarily the rhythm of your family, but it is, if you don't have a structure and you're new to this, and I know some of you guys are thinking about homeschooling your kids in a different way. You're looking at new ways and new ideas. Try it, see how it works, and test it against the things that you already do, because this might unlock some things that you hadn't thought of before, even if you don't use it exactly the way we do.
So will you make a template to have a copy of your lesson plans for their file?
Here's the tricky thing. Say that again. Read that question.
Well, it's, will you have a template to have a copy of the lesson plans for their file?
Oh, yes, the whole box portfolio.
Yeah, so the kind of cool thing about the curriculum that we use is everything is online. So if I need to print off a certain day, it's there. But so it's all there for me. Sorry.
She's coughing.
And for the kids. So they can see it, I can see it, and I can have a written copy of it, which I like to have. I don't necessarily need that for their portfolio. What I usually do is, for the state of Ohio, I have to send in a overview of what I'm teaching them. And I learned from a mother of 9 who homeschooled her kids when we first moved back to Ohio, that I needed to be as vague as I possibly could, because if we hit a road bump like we did last year where we changed curriculums, at least what I was teaching them was still within the realm of what was on that. So I didn't get really specific with it. I get specific with my kids. I don't have to get super specific with the state.
Now, that's good. So
Yeah.
what have we done? But we've taught, we're looking at Katie, we're going, okay, you're going to be a freshman in high school. By the way, before I forget, let my ADD take over. If you guys have questions, please put them in all caps so Heather can see them.
Yeah.
And we can answer questions as we go, because this stuff is heavy. There's a lot of content just in this piece. And if there's something that you guys want to ask, put it in the comments below. Put it in all caps, and also in the live chat.
I have another question. Henry Rosa said, why is it that children who are homeschooled turn out smarter than traditional public education? I don't know if they turn out smarter, but I think because, like Amy T said, traditional public school is kind of cookie cutter.
Mm-hmm.
I find, now this is just my opinion and I may be wrong, and I probably am, I think that school is geared more towards girls who can sit still and read a book and do stuff like that, where my boys, they need to get up, they need to move, they need to feel it, touch it, taste it, manipulate
Every
it.
15 minutes they've got to
Yeah.
change rhythm.
And they're also not in a class of, around here in the school system that we're in, 30 kids are in a classroom.
Yeah.
And that's hard because you can't get the individual attention that you need, and you fall behind. And so, like last year when Katie was struggling with some of her math, I told her, okay, we're not doing a page a day. You're going to read part one day, and then do questions the next day, and then we'll grade it. And if you didn't get above a certain grade, you'll go back, reread, and redo. So that way she's not being left behind.
All you get to see is me nodding right now. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
but
sorry about that.
is very passionate and
I
doing a
think
good
the
job.
problem with that curriculum though.
Come up here, they can't hear you.
Yeah, you gotta come over here.
I think the problem with that curriculum though is that it would move on, it'd have 1 or 2 pages of explaining the process
Explanation.
and the math and
Yeah.
stuff, and then it'd have 1 or 2 pages of actually doing the stuff, and then it just move on. It wouldn't explain it more or
Yeah.
I
And I think that's one of the reasons why my kids liked Khan Academy so well, is because you couldn't move on until you understood what was going on.
It'd
So
be very aggravating if you did math.
yes.
You're just ugh.
Well, we did these math books because you didn't want to do Khan Academy anymore, and she came back to me going, I think
Khan
that
Academy,
I would rather not do these math books anymore. So
All right.
yeah.
So
Right.
we're gonna put you on the spot, and one of the things that we said we would do is Katie is going into 9th grade. She's going into high school, and she now has to be responsible for a portfolio. And the boys, when they go into 9th grade, they're going to be responsible for their portfolio. And it's a high school thing. It's something we're telling them that they have to be responsible for. And so Katie, as we were going through all of this tonight, keeping in mind this has been a 2.5-hour process. Katie's been watching us and learning from us how we want to do this, and she has created her own thing. And this is her scheduling notebook. Why don't you go ahead and explain what it is you've got inside that notebook, okay? Hold it up so they can see it, okay?
Well, I've
And
got
Mom can adjust the camera too.
Yeah.
I've got the months as my dad has here, except mine's more spaced out and stuff. Cause they're doing Miles's math, and my curriculum is different than Miles's. So this doesn't have a subject yet, but it has the dates in August, and
So if we're on August 13th, you know that's day 1.
day 1.
And if we go to August 23rd, you know that that's day 9.
Mhm.
And there's no confusion between mom, teacher, and daughter, student, what subject and day they're on. There's clear communication.
Yeah, and at the end of every month, I put that I have a portfolio review that should have 2 samples of what I've done.
Yes, what you're working, samples of work that you have done
Mm-hmm.
that proves and shows that you're smart.
Yeah. And so I have it all the way up until November because
We haven't gotten
we
to
haven't
December
gotten
yet.
to December.
And
yet.
we're gonna pause. This is gonna be for each subject. We're gonna pause and we're gonna let her do this and see how it pans out, and we'll adjust it and go further into December and January and so on. But this is the rhythm we're keeping: fall, winter, spring, summer. Fall, winter, spring, summer. That's the rhythm that we're putting up for our family.
Yeah.
How surprised were you when I did that?
Well, I was in the kitchen making myself some tea, but I saw that and I'm like, Mom's not gonna like that.
I was like, what are you doing?
Hey, it's my wall, and we gotta keep things out of the box, my friends. All right.
Amy T says, yes, some things take a fair few goes to sink in.
Stand right here.
I don't have kids,
Get it out
but
of your
I used to work in a school, and I struggled a lot in mainstream school, so I'm really interested in your ideas for the future. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Good. Well, I hope we can help. I really
Yeah.
do. And I hope this encourages homeschooling parents. I hope that it encourages parents that are public school finished. We were public school finished. We were done with what was going on in the public school system, and we're not typically a negative channel. We're not going to badmouth the public school system, but what we are going to say is it did not fit our family.
It did
and
not
it was
work
not
for our
something
family.
that edified our kids. We wanted to move beyond that. Now, we can have a whole nother discussion about co-ops. Co-ops can be awesome. Co-ops can be a total pain in the butt. But the core fundamental reasons why we went into homeschooling are outlined under some of the values and some of the ways that we wanted our family to flourish and to grow. Okay, all right. Thanks, kid. Go ahead. I think we're done. What else do we have? Do we have any other questions? What else do we need to
No, it
explain?
doesn't look like we have any other questions, and I don't think we have anything else to explain. Like I said, we'll be doing more of these. They may not be live. We may just be doing 15-minute videos on,
She's torturing me.
how I'm, getting the kids ready
Yeah.
each day, stuff like just how I'm getting them organized.
Sure.
Because I think we really struggled last year with the move and just a lot of other stuff
Katie,
with
would you be carrying me for a second so
with
Mom can come to the
organization.
front of the thing
Yeah.
while we close here?
So-
What we're gonna do is we're gonna just
Wow, my leg is asleep.
we're gonna take a moment and just say there are many areas in homeschooling where we can try to share our wisdom, but it really helps when you guys ask questions. It really helps when we hear your stories and when we hear the efforts that you're making to do homeschooling. And so don't hide from that, don't shy away from that, make it something that's easy for us to access. If you want to, you can email us at info.goinbatty@gmail.com, or you can contact us through our Facebook page or leave a comment down below, whatever that looks like.
And if you have a system that works for you,
Yep.
I mean, share it with us, because by no means is this the end all be all.
No,
whatever.
it's
And,
not.
you know,
It's just a
and
framework, that's all.
This is just him helping me, because I struggle with this, and helping us get organized and get on the same page. So if a day that I'm sick and he actually is home from work, he can just look at it and go, okay, this is what we're doing today, because there was a point where you were doing the kids 2 days out of the week and I was doing them 3 days out of the week because I was working part-time. And it just, because we didn't have this, it failed miserably, and I had to quit my job because we weren't getting the stuff done that
We didn't know how to communicate about it. We didn't know
Yeah.
how to talk about it. And I'll be honest with you, for guys, it's easier for guys sometimes to look at the homeschooling thing and go, that's on your mother. Just ask your mom. It's easier for guys to pawn it off on their wives because moms are in the trenches every single day. Did you get it done? Did you get it done? Did you get it done? And dads are like, we're going out, we're hunting the buffalo, we're bringing it back, and we kind of miss that entire section of the day where mom had to crack down on said child because they didn't do what they said they were going to do in said homework. And what we need to do is we need to come forward and go, okay, I may not understand everything that's going on in the day, but I'm going to support my wife. I'm going to support the person that's doing the homeschooling by knowing enough detail to be dangerous. And knowing what questions to ask too, because I've learned a lot by watching Heather, by asking clarifying questions of the kids when they come up and say, okay, I'm done, and it's 9:30 in the morning.
Now, do you
Come
really
on.
believe that?
It's 9:30 in the morning and you just finished your day's worth of math? I don't think so. Some of these things up here were like compound fractions and mixed numbers and blah,
With some
blah,
calculus on the side,
Yeah, it's like, what the heck? You didn't finish that 9:30. So asking clarification questions like, did you do your handout? Was there a handout today? Show me a sample of what you got done. Well, I didn't save it. Well, then you didn't do it.
Yeah.
This is a simple process that we've had to learn. When a child hands in a piece of paper, Keith, you have a piece of paper over there? Hand me that thing down there. Just
This?
hand it to me, yeah. Yeah. When a child hands in a piece of work and they say, here, I'm done. The first thing that Heather and I have trained ourselves to do is look at it and go, okay, name, date, subject.
Because that was one of our biggest frustrations this year, is I was going through.
Does it fit
their-
math? Science?
I was going through their portfolios, and I had him sectioned out just by subject. You know, so there was math, English, history, and and I started going through stuff, and because I hadn't checked that part,
Yep.
and it's funny because they handed me the paper and I looked at it and I would grade it and stuff like that, but I didn't check for name, date, and subject. I didn't know whose paper it was, I didn't know what day they did it, and we had to go back through everything and
Yep.
find stuff that was missing
Yep.
because people told me they did it, and
They lied like a
the paper
dog.
I'm just gonna say the paper got lost.
They didn't necessarily lie.
They didn't necessarily not
But
do
they
it,
didn't
but
necessarily tell
the
the
paper
truth.
wasn't in the box, so I'm going to assume that they lost it. So.
Now here's the process that we've had to learn. They hand it into us and it's blank. We hand it back to them and we say, okay, you fail because it doesn't have name, subject, and date. Yes, we're that harsh, that we're that straightforward to say, if it's not on there, if it does not say your name on it, then it does not count. It is not, we're not taking it.
Because
Hand it back to them. They go fill it out, blah, 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 with subject and date, and then turn it back in. Mom takes it, and she doesn't go, okay, go put it in your portfolio. No.
I have to do that.
She grades it, gives them the feedback that they need to give, and then she puts it away in the portfolio. Because sometimes what we're doing is we're asking our kids to do something that we don't know how to do. And we can't be accountable for. And so to bring the accountability level up, Heather and I have made a joint decision not to just grab that and go, okay, put it in your portfolio. No.
Sorry.
Okay? Katie, you have a question?
Well, it's more of a statement. For the name, date, and subject thingy, when we were at this one co-op in Maryland, my essay teacher, she wouldn't let me turn in it without, what was it, my name, title of the essay, subject, date, and then how many words were on the page. So I just do that
How many
with...
words on the page?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I couldn't do,
She does not
and
let you know.
like,
Apparently.
if I didn't do that, I wouldn't get an A. So,
And there's nothing wrong with putting that standard on your kid to say, hey, do this so that you can be organized.
and because she did that, now every time that I'm either writing something, whether it's on Google Docs or just a normal paper, I try to make sure I have my name, date, subject, and if it's a writing project, the title. Not usually the words.
She was not the one that I had an issue with not having that stuff on.
But
her
we're not
paper.
going to point fingers.
I have 3 boys who, when they print, their handwriting all looks the same. When they do cursive, I can tell who it is, but when
Right,
they
right.
print, I have a hard time telling who it is.
But
so.
again, it's that process. You have to keep a process in place for you, for your kids, and so some of this may not apply to you because you don't have the same kind of rules we have at
You
home.
have 1 kid.
Yeah, you only have one kid. God bless you. And that's amazing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of our take on homeschool planning, and just some nuggets of information that we decided to do with our family to encourage your guys' family. We hope it's been beneficial to you. We hope that you learned as much as that we're learning, and as we go, we're going to continue to learn. This is about life as we go and all that we learn. And so this is the journey Heather and I are on, and we are frankly pretty honored to be sharing that with you guys. And we're blessed that you would join us tonight and be a part of this. So I'm going to pray for us like I do for all of the end of our live streams. And if that's not your thing, hey, maybe it could be. So hang out with me and let's pray together and share just for a little bit. Father God, we thank you so much for the privilege it is to come together and learn how we could better serve our families. God, we pray for this plan. We lift it up to you. We ask that you take away the things that are not of your will, that we submit this plan to you, and that it be subject to what you want it to be, and that it would edify and glorify you as we serve our kids. Father God, teach us how to do that in a godly way that honors them. Lord, we thank you for these amazing people who joined us tonight. We thank you for all the folks that are watching on the rewind. And Lord, just continue to show us how to be empowered as we homeschool our kids. We pray these things in your son's amazing name. Amen.
Amen.
All right, guys, that's it. Thanks for joining us. And as always,
More updates as we go.
bye, guys.